Hello everyone, my name is Sind, and welcome back. On today's video, as you've seen, I have the follow-up for my Icebound Beam Frostbitten Gemma. This character has been probably my most successful league start. It has been, as I've said before on SSF, this is going to just cover the changes that I've made to the build since the last video. If you haven't seen that, I recommend you go and see that. I'll leave it in the description and on the links. But let's go through it, shall we? So, first and foremost, on the skills, there's a bit of a change. On your main link, as I've said, I've gotten the +4 minimum channeling stacks on my staff, which means I managed to drop the channeled support over here, channel preparation, for GMP, and it is indeed a lot more damage. And I dropped Cold Pen as well for Focused Beam, which to me was doing a lot more single target DPS. We have stuck with the Light Hunter belt, therefore we no longer needed the Force Start, which instead allowed us to use Secret Origin Unleash for an even further increase on our damage. This increases our damage by quite a lot, as it gives us not only cast speed but also additional cast speed for each Focus Blessing stack. We have absolutely zero issues maintaining 5 stacks of Focus Blessing even with this consuming them, because of how quickly we are hitting the enemy. So as you can see, we have Well Fought Battle, Rhythm, Mania and Mass Effect. If you are going to have to drop a support here because you don't have enough energy on your gear, that's fine. You can drop Rhythm. In fact, you can drop Rhythm on that altogether if you want. If you just rather have more control over how you use it, you can do that. On Blink, I swapped cooldown recovery for Magic Dash. This allows us to get 2 stacks of our mobility skill, and I didn't feel an issue with that, with not having the cooldown recovery. Mana Boil is the same thing, we just added Mass Effect. And here, same thing. On our auras, we now have Precise Projectiles. We have a lot more sealed mana, so it allows us to fit this in. This is our auras for single target. If you're gonna be doing clear, i.e. mapping, the footage you saw before while mapping was using Ice Imbue rather than Erosion Enhancement, because the explosion from Ice Imbue does a lot of our clear. However, the additional damage to life from Erosion Enhancement is a lot of damage for single target. On our life, we have Precise Elemental Resistance. Precise version of this only gives us about 5% more elemental resistance. Then we have Elemental Amplification and Magic Source for our mana regen. Our trigger setup is exactly the same as last time. We now also have Candles, which is quite nice. We have Attack and Cast Speed for channel skills. The Fire Pen is doing nothing for us, and then we have Barrage Skill Radius, which it's a stat that we can use because we are using Blizzard, but it doesn't do anything for us. Here, same thing, dot damage does nothing, and then we have +2 additional refractions for the beam skill. Our beam does not refract. What it does instead is it turns the refractions into jumps for our little specks of ice that we throw out when we are at max stacks. So this is a nice addition to our clear speed as well. On our traits, as you can see, this again is the single target version. On our relic, we got a quite nice relic here. We have +5 Cold Pen and this effect which gives us 20% additional damage taken on the enemy when they are frozen. As you can see, I'm using Ice Surge Undercurrent. This is a massive single target boost. I got lucky enough to drop it. You need to slot it in the second slot of your relic, otherwise nothing of the memory works. And it requires us to be close to the enemy now to hit them with Cold Pulse. So if you have anything that interacts with Cold Pulse, like on your memories, on your relics, you keep that in mind, you need to be close to the enemy. The memory itself does not, however, require you to be close to the enemy to work, though. All of it requires is to consume cold energy, which in turn means getting max cold energy on the other memories is quite nice. And both of the ones I'm using here have max cold energy. For clear, however, I wouldn't use Ice Surge Current, because you really want the cold pulse to hit the enemies, and you don't want necessarily to be in front of the face all the time. So instead, I use something with Frostbite and attack and cast speed. You can use realistically whatever you want in here. It doesn't matter too much. For our gear, changes here. As you can see, we're still using like Light Center Belt and Ralph's Engraving. I was trying to craft myself a pair of gloves with Fervor, but it's a very rare stat and I didn't drop one already with it, so I didn't manage to do that, but optimally I would swap this for that, I think. It does give us quite a lot of Fervor effect, but I would like to test it out because you can get something like Fervor and something like these +1 spell skill level, which I'm pretty convinced would be better than just Fervor effect. So, on our helmet, we have elemental damage, sealed mana, max energy shield, reduced damage dealt by nearby enemies, or effect and cold res. It's a very, very nice helmet. We have, the sealed mana and the aura effect are the biggest stats here, as well as the max energy shield is quite good. The elemental damage is very good as well for us, obviously, and the additional damage dealt by nearby enemies being reduced is also quite good. So overall, 6 stats that we can use. It's a beautiful, beautiful helmet here. If I would change anything, I would probably drop the additional damage dealt by nearby enemies for something more offensive to allow us to scale our damage even further. Chest piece, I believe it's the same one as last time. If not, this is a very basic piece, or effect as high as we can. Cast speed, and then just defensives. Next, for our amulet. As you can see, we're still using the same Ripple amulet. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any other base to craft on, and I didn't really want to change this one. So, we have just max energy shield, cast speed, erosion resistance, a couple of other low damage stats, as well as cold res, which we actually need. On our boots, they're actually quite nice. We have aura effect, we have damage pen, which is very good as well. It's the base that we want. We have max energy shield, which is very good. We crafted more energy shield and now we crafted movement speed. You can potentially get +1 here, so that's another thing that you could aim for. I'm pretty sure it's on the prefixes. If we scroll down here, is this a suffix? No, it's a prefix. Yep, there it is. It's quite rare, as you can see. On the rings here, we have another Aurora ring, which, as you can see, has +12% max energy shield. This is a base that only drops from tier 8, or time mark 8, I should say, either Watchers or Traveler himself. I found 2 actually, which is quite nice. But I didn't craft the second one as I need the stats on this. So, the Aurora ring has +3 frostbite rating to frostbitten enemies every second. This is a very good stat for us. It makes so our uptime on the freeze is quite high, and just overall increase our damage by a lot. For offensive stats here, we have cast speed, we have crit strike rating, we have a bunch of flat cold damage to spells, and the frostbite rating, so a very offensive ring here that we got. On this ring, as you can see, it's just a heated ring, just a fire resistance ring. We have a bunch of resistance on the suffixes, and then on the prefixes we have energy shield, frostbite tier 1, which is very, very good, and then flat to cold spells as well. I can't possibly remove this, because otherwise I don't have any fire res, so I 100% need to keep this ring. On our staff, as I said before, we managed to hit the 4 minimum channeled stacks. Keep in mind, if you manage to hit tier 1, you don't need to, you could hit +3, you don't need to recraft it. You can just come here to target processing, click here and use truth embers to swap between essentially the values in brackets until you get a +4. Do not roll over if you get a +3 instead. So as you can see, we have very high spell damage, we have very high cast and very high spell crit strike rating as well. Then we have a bit of flat cold and a dead prefix in minion max life. Optimally, you would be able to change that to something useful. Could be elemental damage. And I think that's it really. It could be plus levels, but that's very difficult to get as well on top of the minimum stacks. So that would require a lot of investment into this. The implicit is not bad. I think the implicit is not just 2 attacks with a stave, I hope. Otherwise it's a dead mod. If that is the case, you can then use the new dream crafting mechanic to turn it into something like potentially spell damage is one of the things you can get. So you could do that, but obviously that comes with the risk of, you know, breaking your item. Other than that, let's go over the passive tree because there's a few changes here. The most obvious one, we have drop elementalist for ranger now, but I'll go over that in a second. Goddess of knowledge, everything is the same except we drop this point. For other things on the ranger tree, here most of everything is the same. We have, however, taken some energy shield regain here for our benefit of just hitting a lot, so we regen quite a bit with this. And then we have ranger here. If you want to copy the tree, as always, feel free to pause and copy it. But on the big nodes here, we take fluke. Shooting arrows is not bad, you can take that as well. However, to me, fluke was being more consistently and better overall than shooting arrows, so I went with that. Here, impending is the one that you really want to take. It increases your damage by a massive amount. It does require you to play close to your target. However, that shouldn't really be an issue for us, as to avoid damage you can just blink around the target as their swings come out and is very manageable. This is definitely the one you want to go with. On the statue of the new god are slates. Most of these are similar, you've seen these before, I'm pretty sure. Here we did get additional beam length, which is very good. It makes our clear actually quite more fluid. It's not an increase in DPS by any means, but it increases how fluid and how comfortable the build is to play. So if you can get it, do so. Here then we got another one that is, it's nice. You got +1 spell skill levels, which is the big thing. And then we have attack and cast speed for channel, or effect, cold damage, and crit. So a nice one. I believe this one was seen before, I'm not entirely sure, but if not, we have spell damage at low mana. We're always at low mana, right? We have additional damage applied to life, which is very good, and the other stats are not a big deal. This does nothing for us, we don't have blur. This is unnecessary because of our belt, and this is just 3% max energy shield. And this one I'm pretty sure you guys seen before. And yeah, that's pretty much all the changes that I've done to the build. Hopefully I have not forgotten anything. For a quick showcase of our damage in dummy, making sure we're using our single target setup. The damage can fluctuate quite a bit. We don't do any damage until the target is frozen really, and once it's frozen is when we actually start doing damage. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. And this is probably like the high end of what you can get at. Like average DPS is usually somewhere between 4 to 5 billion DPS usually sustained, and 9 billion highest DPS in 5 seconds is pretty much what I got before. So yeah, that's pretty much what you can expect if you have a similar setup to the one I'm using right here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a like and a sub to the channel. It helps me out quite a lot. Expect in the future... oh, I completely forgot. I also, as I've said before, I have the first kill on the server for Traveler 8. It was quite a tough fight, actually. As you can see, it's the first of all characters. There's no other character that has cleared Traveler 8 yet. It was a super difficult fight. It took me 12 minutes with my damage, because we can't really damage him during phase 3 for 2 reasons. One, he's always teleporting around, which makes our damage pattern very difficult to get down. And 2, about 20 seconds into phase 3, the boss enrages because of the time I took. So it gets very complicated, but I did manage to get it in the end. I don't have footage, unfortunately, because I was actually not expecting to kill him in that try, but there we go. Quite happy about that. Other than that, I think that's it. Feel free to follow the guide or just pick apart some pieces and make it yours is what I would recommend. It's been a very fun journey. I very much liked this character, and now I'm moving on towards other things. Currently I'm working on a Rosa build. I'm a big fan, but expect a video on that maybe in the next couple of days. I'm quite enjoying that, and I cannot wait to see how far it goes. For now, that's all from me. I'll catch you guys later. Bye bye.